All right. Hi, I'm Amy Prokopis. I'm the author of The Arena, and welcome to my first Write With Me live stream. So, I am using a different kind of software that I haven't used before. So, bear with me if things are a little funny. Um, but basically, what we'll do, my plan for this is to do 20-minute sprints. So, in the writing world, anyway, writing sprints are when you sit down and focus only on writing for a dedicated amount of time and then you take a break. It's pretty self explanatory. Um, so, that's the plan. And in between those sprints, we can chat and I'll share some of those questions that I got on Instagram this week, and a few from Facebook, not very many. I'm not really on Facebook much, so it's not as active there. Speaking of, if you were wondering where you could find me, the best places to connect with me are Instagram and TikTok. I'm fairly on TikTok a little bit. And of course, all the author places like Goodreads. I record everything I'm reading on Goodreads. So those places you can reach out to me there. But most of the time on Instagram. That's you can definitely catch me on Instagram. So we'll just start in with a couple questions. So the first question I got is well, I got a couple of these, but they all sum up in this one. What does your writing routine look like? Let me put that up here. What does your writing routine look like? Okay. So, my writing routine is kind of sporadic. I do a lot of writing on weekends. Consistently. I write, especially Sundays. I write throughout the day Saturday, throughout the day Sunday, and any time that I can, any week in not weekends, any night when I can find the time to sit down and write, like tonight, if I've scheduled it or I just have enough downtime, I will sit down and work on projects. So I don't really have much of a routine. I wish I had more of a routine. There are some authors out there that have some pretty interesting routines. So I hope that answers that question. Um, Another one that I had was, where do you write? So I I write either at this table where you guys are right now, or more often I'm sitting, oh my gosh, I'm sitting back here. So we actually have a bar stool because, let me angle this. This counter is a little bit higher. It's kind of messy right now. And so we have bar stools from our old house, and I usually just move it aside and I sit right there, plug my computer in, and it makes a nice little desk. And it's also high enough and out of the way that my 2-year-old can't really reach up and mash the keys. So that's where I write. A lot of people like to go out and write. I don't find that to be very productive for me. Like go to a bookstore or sit in a coffee shop. I wish I could do that, but I get too distracted. I like to people watch. So I don't really go out to write very often. I do my best writing here at home and most often like late at night. I do a lot of writing. I'll like sit down to just get started writing at like 8 p.m. sometimes, pretty commonly. So um there's that. And what got you into writing? That's another one that I saw on Instagram. What got you into writing? Um, I I'm not really sure exactly what got me into writing. I've been writing since I was really little, which is everybody's story. If you ask authors, that's what they all tell you is I've been writing since I can hold a pencil. That's the pretty common flowery phrase, which is also true in my case. I started writing I started with like comics because I didn't know enough words and I didn't really know how to put them all into sentences. So I would write out a sentence or write as much as I knew, and then I would draw pictures next to it. So they became graphic novels. I don't have any of those anymore. I don't know if my parents do, maybe. I'd have to ask. But that's how I started. As far as what got me into writing, it's probably just all the books I read when I was a kid. So my mom especially, but my parents, they had this routine for my sister and I, because there's two of us, and we would read one book before bed every night. And I loved this time. You get all snuggled up in your bed, pull all the sheets up, and it's story time. And I loved that time. I would always ask for more stories. We'd usually read two or three if we had the time. And then when we got into chapter books, I would try to slip in one more chapter. So I guess just the love of the stories and the adventure is probably what got me into it. But I've been telling stories for as long as I can really think of. Um, oh, there's another one on here that says, "How do you write? How do you write during the week?" I guess I answered that. I don't really write during the week very much. If I do, it's because I got lucky with my time. Um, Goodness. We'll do one more and then maybe we can do a sprint. So this next one, this was I liked this question a lot. So what has made you a better writer? I think that's such a cool question. So what's made me a better writer? There's a bunch of answers to this. Practice, of course. Being open to criticism. That's a really hard one. Putting Because it's any kind of creative outlet, like art, any kind of creative endeavor, you put your heart and soul into it. And so it's really scary to put it out there into the world because people, especially on the internet, people will say exactly what they think about it. And sometimes they'll say some pretty mean things, like attacking things sometimes. So I guess being brave enough to share my writing has made me a better writer and taking other people's advice, seeing how other people do it and how that works for me. Um, I think what's shaped a lot of my writing, and I don't know if you've read The Arena, maybe you'd agree, maybe not, but a huge thing that has shaped my writing is my background. So I have my bachelor's degree in English with a minor in German, and I was just short of a minor in like creative writing. I didn't take a poetry class. So I took a lot of creative writing classes, so that's really shaped my writing skills, but I got a master's degree in counseling, and the counseling and the psychology background influences so much of the character building I do when I write stories. And I think that's a huge part of how I've changed as a writer. I understand people better. Some of my favorite probably my favorite character in every book is the villain because they usually have lots of different layers psychologically, and those are so fun to dive into. I love to figure out why people think and act the way that they do because usually there are reasons behind our behaviors. People aren't just mean to be mean. There's usually some other thing within them that has like caused them to act and behave that way. So I guess that's probably a huge part of it. Okay, I feel like we've gotten a little bit maybe too lengthy in here. So I think that maybe it's a good time to go into the first sprint. So what we'll do, and I'm going to mute myself here in a minute. I didn't have any like fancy music to play. I didn't know if everyone would like that, if it would be distracting to some of you. So I thought we'll just leave it out. So I'm going to put on my air shocks, which are these fancy things for myself so I can play some of my own music as I write. So just because I haven't addressed it yet, I am writing my next book. I haven't announced what the project is yet. It's taken me a little longer than I had planned to get through draft one. So I am in the very last act of this draft, and then I will probably set it for a little bit and then come back and read it all and edit and adjust things because I already have a running list of things to fix. So I'm working on my second book. That's what I'm working on tonight. But you may be working on something different. So if you're doing other kinds of work, maybe you're folding laundry, which is something I like to do when I watch live streams, let me know what you're working on, or what you should be if you're avoiding it. Something else I also do during live streams. So we're going to do 20 minutes. I do have a timer that I'm going to put up. So let me get this timer going. Okay. There we go. All right, guys. So I'm going to mute myself, put these guys on, and we're going to go with 20 minutes, see what we get done. Hopefully a lot. So right now this makes me wonder, oh my goodness, my draft's not even open. This makes me kind of wonder how much I've gotten done too, because I haven't checked my word count in a while. I've just been kind of like going. So let's open this and let's see where we are. Just because I'm kind of curious here. Okay. If you hear any loud sounds in the background, it's probably Finn, my 2-year-old. He is playing in the other room. He actually has his show on for the night. He watches TV before he goes, during quiet time. We let him watch a little TV. Okay. So right now, my first draft is 256 pages long and 77,600 words exactly. So let's see how many pages we can gain. All right. So we're going to do 20 minutes. I'm going to mute myself. Okay. All right. So I gained, let's see, about 2 pages, I think. Quite a few words. So feel pretty good. I've gotten quite a bit of a scene done. I guess let's go back to a couple questions because there are a few on here that I didn't answer. Some that are not even like writing related, which I thought were fun. So, this one is, what is your favorite food? And gosh, I have a hard time. It might be kind of like a toss up. I could eat tacos every single day. I really could. But I could also eat like a stir fry every single day. I love sushi. We do sushi every single Friday at our house. And usually tacos once a week or maybe like every couple weeks. But gosh, probably like a good stir fry right now. I make a pretty mean stir fry. That's about all I cook, actually. Oopsie. I hit some of the wrong ones. The next one, what are you reading right now? I am reading A Court of, oh crap. I'm reading A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. It is the fourth, the fourth book in A Court of Thorns and Roses. I've never read that series. I'm a little late to the game, but I'm way into it. I love it. It's so much fun. There's a lot of characters. The stories are long and stuff, but it's really good. I'm devouring this one too. I'm almost finished. I mean, A Court of Frost and Starlight, it's not very long. It's a pretty short book compared to the other ones, but I'm like probably going to finish it later this afternoon. So there's that. Let's see. I've gone through the Facebook questions. I've done all the writing questions. Oh my goodness. Come on. There we go. What? No, I've already answered that one. And oh my gosh, a couple of these others were about my project right now. Let's see. I've scheduled the day for the announcement video. So I'm going to announce pretty quick what the book I'm writing is about. And this project that's not so far off. So I just hold on for a little bit, guys. I did get quite a few questions about like, when is your next book? There's another one. If you got the chance to traditionally publish, would you move from self-publishing to traditionally publishing? I don't know. I think it would take a lot for me maybe to move to traditionally publishing, even though you do a lot of the work yourself when you self-publish versus traditionally publishing, you get like a team, but you also don't always get as much like payout. So I don't know. I think it might depend on how well I'm doing before then if I switch to that. I've heard some pretty disheartening stories about other authors that have like had a deal for a book and they were in the process and then a year later they decided not to publish their book, and that would destroy me. And I know why they make those decisions, but I don't know. I like the control I have right now. So probably not anytime soon. So that's a pretty good question. What other questions? Let me check one more place. Oh my gosh. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? Gosh. So I get a lot of inspiration for my stories from nature, particularly like forested places. So I don't see myself moving, at least not very far from where I am right now. I'm really close to family. We have a whole lot of help and support with my son. So I don't see that anytime soon. And we have no plans in the future either. But I think it'd be kind of fun to live somewhere like Colorado, where there's like some mountains and trees and very outdoorsy. I like that kind of stuff. I grew up going on camping trips. So I love that. I get a lot of inspiration from forests, which is a huge part of the reason why my logo, my Amy Prokopis logo, has trees on it. That's where that comes from because a lot of the writing that I've done and I plan to do have like mountainous settings. The arena does not. The arena is more of a desert jungle kind of setting, but some other projects that I have mostly drafted are set in those kinds of settings. Which bring, I guess there is this one question that we did. No, yeah, we didn't. Yeah, I guess we didn't get to it. Which is like, how many stories have you written? I've only published one, but I have a ton that I'm planning to publish. So right now, for projects that I plan to publish that are like the stories are already pretty fleshed out, if not even for a lot of them, there's a draft in my on my computer. There are, oh my gosh, 10, I think. Are there really? I thought there were only like 8. But I guess there are 10. So there are 10 books that I have plans for. And of all of them, I would say half of them I have drafts, like early drafts of, because I've been working on a lot of these stories and playing with them since I was in college and to some degree in high school for some of these. So they've grown and developed in a lot of ways, but I guess they're just not publishable yet. So they're kind of in the works. I've got like my own like project log going of things that I want to write and when to focus on them and so they're all in there somewhere. So I guess 10. Wow, I didn't know it was that many. Goodness. What is your biggest fear? We'll make this the last one. Oh my gosh. What is your biggest fear? Um it's funny because I don't not there's not this will make sense to some of you and you'll understand that. When I think of my biggest fear, I think about my anxiety mostly and like panic attacks. So, if you have ever really struggled with anxiety before, like I have, and have had panic attacks, I used to have them every single day, usually multiple within a day. They were really bad. They would keep me from going to places. I had a really hard time in college classes because I would often have panic attacks either in the class or at some point between them. That's usually when they would happen. And so they would keep me sometimes from going to classes, especially those between. If I was keyed up enough and I couldn't come back down, sometimes I would just skip the rest of the day because I could not mentally do it. So um, a lot of people that have anxiety, especially panic attacks, can develop panic disorder, which means that you are so concerned and so afraid of the next panic attack that you like induce more panic attacks and you avoid things that might trigger them. So when I think about my biggest fear, I think a lot about those days. And the biggest hurdles I overcame to help with that. Like for me, anything that made me feel out of control. So driving, as funny as that sounds, I used to have a really difficult time driving myself and also as a passenger in someone else's car because in someone else's car, of course, you don't feel in control. You're not driving. But in my own car, I felt so like being on the highway, I had no control of how fast people were going past me or how many people were on the road. So driving anxiety used to be a really big problem. It's not so much anymore. Just if the weather's really bad, and even then I don't panic like I used to. So I guess you could say anxiety. I don't know. That sounds a little like Hermione saying like fear of a name is, that quote, fear of this thing itself. Oh my gosh, I'm probably butchering that. Anyway, so keep commenting. If you're commenting and sending me stuff on, like, I'm getting some on Instagram still. So drop your comments in there. Also, my Instagram handle is at Amy Prokopis. It's pretty easy. So there's my Instagram right here. So you can hop on there, send me stuff there. Also, go follow me there. I'm really active on Instagram, most active on Instagram. So I'm still pulling questions from there. It's just that they're kind of coming in really slow. So, and some of them are things from posts too that I've remembered I posted about. So, I've got hiccups. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's 7:18. Let's do another 20-minute sprint, and then we can do a couple more questions and see where we are. So I know I said 6:30 to 8. So we'll see. We might not end exactly at 8, but probably not much later than that because it's getting close to the time I need to go and check on and Finn in the other room out here. So we won't be for very long. Oh, and speaking, I just kind of showed this off. So speaking of like anxiety and stuff, I also have ADHD. I was diagnosed when I was in 5th grade, I think, and I manage it pretty well now. I used to be medicated, but when I was having such issues with my anxiety, I kind of had to choose between which one was worth medicating over the other for me, at least with my doctor and his concerns. So I came off of the ADHD meds and I went on to some anxiety meds. I still take those. I'm pretty like forthcoming about all of that and my struggle. Like I said, I have a counseling degree. I do that during the day, so with kids, and I find that everyone feels a little bit more connected, and it makes people feel better when you feel like you're not the only one struggling. So I'm very open about it. But this is my fidget. So I have many fidgets. When I write, like in last night, I lost this thing and I had to stop everything until I could find it. It's just a pin cap for an erasable pen. I have an entire stash of them and I've had them forever because I don't use them very often. I only use them when I have to pull a cap off and then the pin goes back in the drawer because this is the only thing that I use. So I fidget with this when I write. During the rest of my life, out in the day when I'm away, not writing, I fidget with this ring. This is a conker ring. It literally is a fidget. So I take it off and on like this. That's pretty common. I spin it between my fingers on my finger, but it has a message on here. And if you flick it, it spins on its own. And it also will click like a pin. So if you like clicking, these are great. But anyway, getting sidetracked, speaking of ADHD. So let's go ahead. We're going to do round 2 of our writing sprint or work sprint for you if you're just like cleaning your house or something. So I'm going to mute myself again and we'll put up this timer again and we'll see how far I get. So where am I? I am on page 257. Okay. So we'll see how that goes. Bye. All right. Whew. So I'm actually losing power to my computer. So I may have to move it here in a minute. Because I think I kind of want to do one more sprint. I'm getting in some good stuff, guys. So, all right. I've kind of hit a breaking point here. I was struggling a little bit with this half of the draft, and I finally have gotten into the piece where I'm probably gonna have to flesh this out in draft 2 and cut out some stuff to make so that the pacing's still right. But I finally got to some stuff that is gonna move this along a little quicker. And so now that I've gotten into that, I kind of want to just really dive in and go. So we'll see. I might do one more sprint with all of you. But also with since my computer, like I just got a notification that says that my computer will go to sleep if I don't put it in a power outlet. So I might just call it here in a minute. But I think that we should do maybe a couple more questions to just to end on just to end on kind of a fun note. So I hope you guys got a lot of work done too. I feel like I really like these kinds of writing sprints because just like with like my ADD and stuff, I do a little better if I get when I go into hyper focus and hypofocus, which means I'll be like really zoned in for a span of time and then I'll need to do something completely else. So this has been helpful. So some of these, not going to answer that one. What is your favorite genre? Oh, I like that one. So let me put that one in here. What is your favorite genre? I'm going to answer this in a couple ways. So as far as like writing goes, I like to experiment. So there's not exactly one particular genre that I only write in. Like I've written like the arena sci-fi. I really like to read and write fantasy. One of those 10 projects is a fantasy series. I love fantasy. That'll probably be something I write really soon is moving that direction because a lot of the projects on my log are fantasy. But I like contemporary also. I see myself writing a lot of things. I don't think I could ever write a contemporary series. Mysteries, I really like mysteries. I like reading them, but I don't know that I'd be very good at writing them because I'm a bit of a pantser, which means that pantsers, they just jump into the story without like a fully formed idea and just write, and they learn as they write. So I do a combination of that and outlining. I outline most of the story and then I jump into it and I'll change things as like I feel the characters in the story. So the outline also usually changes. The main plot is exactly the same. Like there's usually the main issues, the main characters, the subplot, and then there's the ending. So I always know the direction I'm going, but I might take a little side trip over here. It's like hiking. I might go off the trail a little ways, but I'll make my way back to the main trailhead again. And we always end up at the top anyway. So that's kind of how I write. So I guess that kind of answers the genre question a little bit. Let's see. What is your favorite? What other things do you do outside of writing and your day job? So, I really like to run. I'm a distance runner. The longest distance or the longest race, because I have run longer distances. The longest race I've ever run is a half marathon. I've done three of those now. I want to do a full marathon, and I've almost trained for the whole thing, but my schedule isn't really doesn't really line up with that training because it's long training. Like, you have to be willing every single Saturday to run for like an hour and a half. And then during the week, you have to be willing to run up to an hour or more a couple days a week. So that's a lot of time outside of my schedule. So it's a little hard to get those really long runs in past half marathon training. So eventually I'll do that. I would love to do that. Um, I do have some long-term goals for like writing and stuff. Hopefully I can move it more into this the majority of my time and make this more of a full-time deal. And if that's the case, then I could set my schedule better so I could do more of that. So I'd, yeah, I run a lot or as much as I can, just like writing in the evenings whenever I can book out my schedule a week at a time because I don't always know all those fine details. Um, some of these questions I'm just completely skipping because I can't even think of an answer for it. Um, hmm, oh my gosh. I want to end on at least one more like really interesting one, kind of like maybe not a writing question, but maybe even just something off the wall. Um, what is a pet peeve? Okay, we'll end with that one. So I don't have many pet peeves. I'm pretty go with the flow, but it does really annoy me when people leave things open or like when like caps off the toothpaste kind of thing or like a cabinet door open. My husband does that all the time and it drives me nuts. I mean, it's not going to like it's not going to be like life altering or anything, but it is something that I kind of grumble about and I have to go through and close it. I have to do that because it bugs me so much. So I just notice it all the time and he especially leaves things open like that. So okay. I think I think that's like a pretty good place to end on. We're still like 10 minutes from the end of the stream. I said 8 o'clock, but I think we're just gonna go ahead and end a little bit early because my computer will die and I could plug it in, but I'd have to move in order to do that. So I think we'll just call it. This has been really fun though. Thanks for joining me. We'll probably do more of these in the future. I want to do at least one a month because I think it's just fun. I'm also going to do book updates, one or writing updates once a month. So I have one of those coming out in a couple weeks, and in that video, I'm going to explain what this project is that I was working on tonight, and that I've been spending as much time in the evenings as I can writing. So I'll tell you guys what that project is super soon. So be on the lookout for that video. And then about once a month from then on, I'm hoping to do a Write With Me live stream like this. And you guys can work on whatever you might be needing to do, whether that's writing or just maybe work for your job. I don't know. While I work on this book. And I'm sure that we'll find some more interesting things to talk about in these streams. So I hope this was fun for you guys. Let me know, leave me comments, like, subscribe, share all of this stuff. It helps me out a lot. If you haven't bought the Arena yet, it is available as a Kindle book, an ebook, paperback and hardback, all and basically anywhere you'd like to buy your books. So you can get it on Amazon, you could get it on Barnes and Noble, I believe Books a Million, Target, Walmart, any of those places you can get online and find it. And if you do see the Arena on a bookshelf somewhere, out in the wild, send me a picture of it because I'd love to see it. I haven't been out a ton just browsing books in a while, so I'm not sure how many places are stocking it yet, but I have been asking around, so let me know. I have a lot of really cool things coming up, so especially surrounding the Arena. I have my first author event this weekend. So if you're in Oklahoma, I'll be at the Enid Author Fest at the public library. So come and see me there. I'll sign books. You can buy it there. And I guess that's pretty much it. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.